Just a trigger warning on this next story, you guys. It does feature talks and discussions about losing a child and child death. Mother-in-law's neglect killed my child. Now she thinks I'll let her around my second child. Sorry, this is so long. My mother-in-law was guilty in the death of her grandchild, my daughter. She was 2 years old at the time, and my husband and me let my mother-in-law babysit her while we were busy with job-related things. It was summertime, and they were staying in mother-in-law's house that has a pond next to it. My daughter loved water. Bath time was her favorite time of the day. They were playing at the edge of the pond, and then mother-in-law remembered she had to take clothes out of the dryer, and she left a 2-year-old alone next to the large body of water. My daughter's childlike curiosity plus her love for water resulted in her getting into the deep part of the pond and drowning. All because mother-in-law considered clothes in the dryer an important enough reason to leave a toddler unsupervised. Then she realized what has happened. She started to panic and call for help. Her neighbor heard her. They got into the pond and called an ambulance, but it was too late. Imagine what it's like for a parent to come to the person you trusted your child with and they tell you your child is dead. And mother-in-law was begging us not to involve the police into this. She kept repeating it was an accident and she, quote, doesn't know how it could have happened. Quote, was only gone for a moment. Quote, feels even worse than we do. Quote, calling the police won't bring her back.
Okay, gaslighting.
We did call the police, of course, and she was charged with criminal negligence and sentenced to 3 years in prison, which, in my opinion, was too light of a punishment. Mm-hmm. Now, recently, mother-in-law was released from prison, and my husband was the first person she looked for contact with. He never once visited mother-in-law while she was imprisoned, unintentionally, but she did cause the death of her child by neglecting her duties as a babysitter. Doesn't matter that she served her sentence. Neither I or my husband will ever forgive her for this. Neither has she asked for forgiveness. All she gave us were excuses and more excuses. In the courtroom, my husband told her she's not his mother anymore, that she's dead to him, and that he never wants to see her face again. Our marriage was damaged too. We were depressed. We fought a lot. There were times when we were on the brink of divorce. We separated for a while. I left for another country thinking that this is it for us. However, my husband came to look for me and we managed to save our family and continue our life together.
Oh my, that's so cute. Should he went looking for her? If he wanted to, he would, okay? If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
He looked for her in a different country?
Yeah. We're both on the verge of tears.
I'm like, that sent me. Like, I've already been like emotional this whole story.
I couldn't bring myself to have any more children for a long time, but eventually I got pregnant again. And last summer we welcomed our son. He's 9 months old now. Obviously, we weren't going to tell mother-in-law we're parents again, but she saw us walking with a baby stroller and realized that once more she has a grandchild. So she tried to get in contact with my husband. First, she reproached him for not visiting her. Cried about how hard it was for her to spend all those years behind bars, that she shouldn't have been in prison because she's too old for that. How could he do this to his own mother? How could he abandon her? Then she was like, but I saw you have a new baby. I'm so glad I have a grandchild again. And then she went on about, is it a boy or a girl? When will she be able to see them and meet them? Because she wants to take care of them so much. My husband told her immediately that she doesn't have anything. This is our child, ours only. Our son doesn't have a grandmother. We'll be telling him this as he grows up, and he will never, ever in a million years be anywhere around her. We're 100% on the same page about this. The loss of our daughter still hurts, and we're going to do the impossible to protect our son from her. He doesn't need an irresponsible grandmother who would likely endanger his life, just like she did with his sister. Mother-in-law was shocked to hear this and began to wail about us being so evil and cruel towards her, that we're going to hold that against her forever, even though she paid for it, and we cannot be so heartless to prevent her from seeing her grandchild. But what was she thinking? What was she hoping for? That we're really going to let her around our baby? That we'll ever trust her with babysitting again? Honestly, I'm not sure if I can leave my son with any babysitter. I don't trust babysitters anymore. Because if a grandmother can be careless enough to let a child die, who knows what could an unrelated person do? So my husband told her firmly that she'll have no access to the baby, and he doesn't want to talk to her either. So now that she's out of prison, She should do something useful with her life and leave us alone. Whew. I like that.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law wasn't having it. That evening, she came to our house asking to see her grandchild again. We didn't let her come in, obviously, and mother-in-law got mad, claiming that as a grandmother, she has rights to meet her grandchild. We told her that she lost all her rights to our children when she let our daughter drown. If a trust is broken, it cannot be repaired, and there are some things that can just not be forgiven. Mother-in-law told us she'll go to court and she'll demand legal permission to meet the baby.
Good luck.
Exactly.
Good luck, sis.
I'm not sure if there is such a thing, but if it's true, I highly doubt she'll get it considering her criminal record. If we need to go to court and prove she's not the type of grandmother you should let around your child, we'll do it. If she comes back again, we'll call the police. If we need to leave this country and go live somewhere else just to be away from her, we'll do it. Nothing's impossible. I'm amazed at the shamelessness of her. She knows very well she tore apart our lives 3 years ago. No parent should bury their child, but we had to because of her, and now she comes to us as if she's the best relative ever, as if nothing happened.
I first just want to point out how refreshing it is to see like a couple aligned.
Same page.
You know, they're like very much a united front on this. And I think that's like amazing because I have read about losing a child, the traumatic effects it can leave and the detriments it could be to a marriage, because that is such an unforgivable pain. And so to see this couple, like even though obviously they had a moment, they are sticking it out. They're very aligned. They're bullish about this, and I think that's great. But for the unfortunate part, like there's no question that this grandmother is unfit, and she's not. I mean, the fact that she thinks she can go to court and get any type of rights is just laughable.
Come at me, bro.
With or without the criminal charge, let's just say she didn't have that criminal charge. She's still you're not entitled to rights. You can fight for custody if you can prove that the parents are unfit. That's clearly not the case here. But on top of that, you have a criminal charge for child endangerment. So good luck.
You served a 3-year sentence in prison.
Yes. For being convicted, not charged, of child endangerment. You were found guilty. That's on your record. You don't think they're going to factor that in when you go in there pleading for rights?
No.
Parental, whatever, guardianship?
Like you're automatically fucked.
Yes. Have fun. But even without those charges, you have absolutely no entitlement to the child.
No. And from what I've seen on legal Reddit, granted, not a lawyer, could be speaking out my ass here. I have no idea. From what I've seen based on legal Reddit and other stories kind of similar to this, where grandparents are like coming out of the woodwork, they're toxic and like need to be kept away from the children, it's really, really hard to get grandparent rights. And there already needs to be like a very established connection with that grandchild for a court to like really consider it.
Yeah. Otherwise, on what grounds are you considering that on? Yeah.
So this is a no-brainer for me. Like, absolutely the fuck not.
No, I would not. This is an instance where I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You don't get another chance. You don't get another chance here.
She fucking killed their child, and there's no coming back from that.
Not a chance. And the behavior has been, I don't want to say non-remorseful because it shows like there is some remorse, but it's very like,
basically none, though.
Yeah, it's coming from a place of self-interest, because I feel like if you were that remorseful, I'm just thinking about myself. Like, first of all, I am such a guilt-ridden person. I was talking about this recently with somebody. Like, apparently I have like guilt written into my DNA at this point. It's like ancestral karma. And so I have like guilt. And so.
That's so interesting.
Ancestral guilt. And so I feel guilt for like, so if somebody does something and it results in a consequence because of me, I feel an immense amount of guilt, even if it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And so in this situation, if I were the grandmother, I mean, the guilt I would feel would be so absolutely unmeasurable and unbelievable that I would like to believe, just based on the way that I think, I'd be like, don't ever let me around your grandchild. I'm so sorry. And I don't deserve to ever be around your grandchild ever again. Like, the family should be, if anything, like, you should know that you are a danger to the children at this point. And
where's the self-awareness?
Yeah, the self-awareness would be like, I feel so fucking bad. I can never trust myself again with your child. I'm an idiot for that. I'll never forgive myself. I understand why you hate me. I understand why you never want me around your child again. If you do, I would absolutely love to meet the child with your supervision, of course. But I don't blame you. And I wouldn't trust myself around a child ever again. I would have so much guilt that I wouldn't even want to watch another child, let alone my grandchild.
Yeah, and that's where it shows her disconnect from reality.
Exactly.
Like, I think just even right after the fact, her saying that she feels even worse than we do.
Yes, that's exactly what I was getting at.
Like, they just lost their child.
Yes.
And you're saying you feel worse than them? Mm-hmm. And calling the police won't bring her back.
Yeah.
It was totally like self-serving.
Gaslighty.
Like, don't call the police on me. I don't want to go to jail. It won't bring her back. It's like self-preservation.
I would be like, here, handcuff me immediately. I fucking deserve life in prison.
Yeah. There was never,
take me away.
No, and like there was never an apology or what OP said. Basically, like she never asked for forgiveness.
And also the lack of awareness, again, to play off of that. Clearly, this couple did not want you to be a part of their son's life, their new 9-month-old son.
Yeah.
So when you didn't get that invite in the mail to come meet him, or you didn't get that heads up and you saw them walking, you should have taken that as a very clear, like, no response is a response. Like, they didn't reach out to you, so they clearly don't want you to be a part of his life.
Exactly.
And an ounce of self-awareness would tell you that. You know,
what a fucking coincidence. She just happened to see them walking.
Yeah, that part kind of weirded me out. I'm like, are they from a small town? Because
she was probably trying to find them.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, that's kind of a wild coincidence.
She was probably trying to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to stick together, stick to their guns. If they need to move to another country, do it. Because this is the type of Lifetime movie network where I see this grandmother becoming unhinged. Next thing you know.
Trying to kidnap the kid? Yeah. Well, especially the fact, too, I'm so glad I have a grandchild again.
Mm-hmm. No,
You're the sole reason that the first one is gone.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
and
that
then
sucks. Like, what if she tries to frame the parents as neglectful? Like, what if that's her plan? She's going to go to court, because what you could do is go to court and try to deem the parents as unfit and that you should assume guardianship of that child. But in order to do that, you have to have like a substantive case. You know what I mean? But like this person, if they become unhinged, you don't know.
She's clearly off her goddamn rocker.
For sure.
The comments are just amazing, full of so much support.
Yeah, Reddit commenters are so good at putting their thoughts into like short.
Cohesive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, when you write, you have the ability to be a little bit more composed than when you're just candidly speaking. But the comments on here are just gold.
Yeah, they are. So they're very, very supportive and just like, you should get a lawyer ASAP, send a cease and desist letter. Another one goes kind of like a POV. Grandma, quote, I'd like to see my grandson. Judge, hell nah.
Yeah, right? That's what... What?
Yeah.
In what world? This woman is so disconnected from reality.
Completely disconnected from reality.
Like, what's disillusioned? Like, she's just so...
She served 3 years in prison and it's still...
For child endangerment.
Still didn't get knocked into her freaking head.
What? Your guilt should feel so heavy. And I'm not saying she shouldn't forgive herself. I think everyone should.
Everyone needs to come to peace with things they've done.
Yes. But the fact that she feels so entitled to this grandson.
I really want to take care of my new grandbaby.
Yes. Is just beyond.
In what fucking world?
No.
The person goes, exactly how much right does she think she has? A normal grandparent has very little leg to stand on with 2 non-abusive parents in the picture.
Bingo.
Let alone her.
Bingo.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, get a restraining order.
True.
And honestly, I think it needs to go there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the whole restraining order thing.
Yeah.
Because you have enough for this.
Get that lady away from you.
Ugh.
Hoo-wee.
That is a shitty note to end on, but...
Yeah, quite the stories for a mother-in-law episode.
That's the worst one I've heard.
I just cannot even imagine.